Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Extra podcast. I am here, Sean, as one half of your co hosting duo. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see right next to me my partner in crime, Simi. How you doing, Simi?
Hello, guys. I'm doing well, man. How are you feeling?
I'm good. International break finally over. 3 months in a row. We don't have one until March. I will say I am thankful that we're done until March um, for, multiple reasons. Being injuries or disappointing matches or whatever. I love international football. Let's not get me wrong, um, but yeah, I'm glad that we don't have any until March. I'm glad that we get a break from it. Um,
Yeah, I know you're a prime like hater of internet. Well, not hate. Hate is a strong word, but like you'd rather have club football. Let's say that. And
I would rather them separated.
yes,
Give me like a whole month of qualifiers. It would be much better if I could say, okay, from middle of October to middle of November, you don't have anything, and then you get 5 games, 4 or 5 games done in that month, maybe
yeah,
more, and then you don't have anything breaking the rest of the season, and then in the summer you do more games. Like I don't like the you get 2 week break and you can only get 5 6 days worth of games in. It's poor scheduling by UEFA, in my opinion, and FIFA. But anyway, um, yeah, no, I'm glad you're doing well. We have a little bit of a shorter episode today, everybody. Of course, like we said, international break is done. We're going to go through that, kind of just talking about the highlights. Um, don't need to get into too much depth. You there's other podcasts out there that'll talk about it. The Italian football podcast, the Tutto Calcio podcast, some other shows, Italian football TV, all of them talk in depth about this stuff. So go out there and listen to them if you want to talk more about international stuff. We're going to touch on Inter players though, and
correct.
then um, the mercato never dies, and then we've got some quotes and some interviews just to wrap up some of the news from this week, since not too much happened around Inter in the past week. So
Yeah. As always, guys, before we get into it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe and comment if you're on YouTube. Especially if you're on YouTube, let us know if you want to see any guests in upcoming episodes. I know we haven't had a guest for a while. If you guys want to see Thomas back, I know that was a big episode that we had, and a lot of people enjoyed that. If you want to see Sharma back, Nima back, or if you want to see a new guest, if you want to see anyone featured that hasn't featured before, yeah, let us know in the comments down below. And yeah, we'll do our best to get whoever you guys would like to see. And if you're listening on the different platforms, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, make sure you go give us a good rating and share it with your friends. Of course, we are fellow Interisti. And outside of that, yeah, I think we're good to go. Like Sean said, we will be focusing on the international break because, not too much happened. Do you know how the Inter women played today? Because I did see that they played. Let me just
yeah, I
ask
did.
you.
I was following it till about the 75th minute. It was still 0-0 at the 75th minute. So I'm gonna check real quick. Um,
This is
nil
live,
nil
live right
draw.
now.
0-0 draw, which means it was a 1-0 aggregate loss for the
Oh,
the women's team. So they're
that's
out.
unfortunate.
Yeah,
Who's against BK Häcken, right?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Well, we
yeah. I think it was
reported
the
on it.
first
Sorry? No?
first European competition for the women's team. So
Yes. Yes. I think
some
that's what
good
you mentioned
experience,
last
but
week. Yeah.
mhm.
So, yeah, because I did see it was streamed live on YouTube. If you guys want to go watch it back, it is probably still on there. However, guys, we had an international break, which is kind of over, but not really. We'll get into it. First of all, I need to get something off my chest, guys. Austria qualified for the World Cup. Now, if you guys know, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan in terms of, because obviously Ralf Ragnar is the coach. Obviously, ex-Inter player Marko Arnautovic, so it is kind of relevant. Congratulations to him. But yeah, just a personal side note. First World Cup in 28 years. So that's what the international break brought for me. I know you, as in like the US, won against Uruguay 4-1. So
Yeah, I don't really care too much about the
well
U.S.
done.
men's
Well
national
done.
team. They're already qualified as well, so these are friendlies. But
Yeah,
I'm
hard
sure we'll talk.
qualification for you guys.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit. But the U.S. I think, has more problems than even Italy has when it comes to the structure. They
Yeah.
they don't call up their best players. they do it based off of popularity or whatever they're thinking. And I think this is why Pochettino already wants to leave, because he's dealing with the U.S. Soccer Federation and he's tired of it. And I don't blame him. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of the fans. They think that the U.S. is better than it actually is. So I'm I support my nation, but I don't like, it doesn't hurt me if they win or lose.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think if it continues like this, there'll be a rude awakening at the World Cup. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be a bit embarrassing if it keeps going like this.
Hmm.
I think this winning as Uruguay is kind of a one-off thing. However,
Hmm.
personal stuff aside, let's get into some of the performances. Now, I want to highlight a few things with tweets, and specifically, I want to get into the players that scored or assisted, slash the countries that actually, what's the word I'm looking for? The countries that actually
Qualified.
ended up, yeah. So the countries where Inter players play for them, slash loanees, that got somewhere, basically, if you get what I mean. So first up,
Hmm.
shout out to Christian Aslani, right, Interloni, scored the only goal for Albania against Andorra, of all nations, to solidify their playoff spot, because obviously they were fighting with Serbia, not off the pitch, also on the pitch,
Yeah.
on who gets the playoff spot, basically. And it would have been a bit embarrassing if they bottled it against Andorra, because they beat Serbia last international break, if you guys remember. So Aslani scored the only goal. Why he was the one that had to score the goal, no one knows. But yeah, he was the one that scored the goal, and they solidified their playoff spot. So congratulations to them. They lost against England in the last game. Aslani played in both.
Yeah.
Then I want to touch
Just
on.
everybody.
Go on.
I know that there's probably some that don't like Aslani. Every time that he does something good, it gives Torino another reason to exercise their option. So
Yeah,
keep rooting for him this season. And if you don't like him, that means maybe he can be off our books next year.
yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Thanks for mentioning that, first of all, and second of all, everyone that complains, yeah, whenever we tweet about interloanees, we don't tweet on loanees based on whether you guys like them or not. As long
Hmm.
as he's under contract with Inter, I'm gonna tweet just as much as I'm gonna tweet about Pavard if he gets like a goal or whatever. I know he's irrelevant because he's probably gonna leave because Akanji's gonna come, right? But he's a player until his contract expires. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
stop tweeting about Christian Aslani being on international break as long as he's an Interloni. Okay, so just to get that out of the way, because everyone's always like, "Oh, why are you tweeting about this guy?" Guys, listen, just be happy for him, because also, like Sean said, Torino are more interested the better he plays. Then, you just touched on Italy just now. They had 2 games to, well, try somehow to knock Norway out of first place, which obviously was unrealistic, but um, it didn't happen anyway. First game was well, it wasn't great either, but the result looked better at least, because Italy beat Moldova 2-0 away from home, and Pio Esposito scored coming off the bench. Everyone came off the bench. Pio Esposito, Federico Di Marco, and Davide Fratesi all came off the bench. Pretty sure that was the game that Barella was suspended in, and Bastoni just didn't play. And Di Marco
Yeah.
also got the assist for the second goal, so he set up Pio Esposito that interconnection, which was, yeah, like I said, not a great game to watch. And then it was also, let me see if I can find it, in the second game where all 5 Inter players started actually. And I remember when the lineups came out and everyone was like, "This is Inter FC, Inter Italy connection." Everyone was gassing it up, and then Pio scored to make it 1-0. Everyone was like, "There you go, guys." However, however, Norway had other plans and ended up winning 4-1. So much on that. I did kind of have to be fair with how I tweeted that Italy finished second in their group and move on to the playoffs with like a applauding emoji. Like I uploaded Albania. I also have to upload Italy, even though it's a bit more embarrassing. But yeah. So that's
Yeah.
the Sean. You looking at the camera, like staring the camera down as if you're just shaking your head in disappointment as well. Like, listen. Also, because Erling Haaland had. Do you want to go into the details of what Erling Haaland said before the game?
Yeah. Some people got really upset by what Erling Haaland said. I appreciated Thomas tweeting out afterwards, like, now you know Pio's name. But anyway, to paraphrase what he said, Erling Haaland said that he doesn't know who Pio Esposito is, which some people will take as disrespect. Football players do not watch every league every weekend around Europe.
Yeah.
They don't have the time. They don't have the energy. They don't have the time. Sometimes they're not really even that big of fans. Like, maybe you love your job. Are you going home and watching YouTube videos of how to do your job? Like, you're not really
I think it's a little bit exaggerating, but I
yeah,
get what you mean. Yes.
right. So,
Yeah.
so he says that he didn't know who Pio Esposito was, which is I understand because Pio was in Serie B last season. So I don't think he knows anybody in the championship either, unless he's played against them before. Um, but he finished off by saying, and this is the part that's important why it wasn't disrespectful. He said, if he is called up for the Italy national team, he must have some quality. And additionally, if he plays for Inter at the age of 20, he must have even more quality. Right. So he was praising Pio even though he doesn't know exactly who he is. So Pio doesn't have PR. He's not a big household name. He's popular in Italy right now, but he hasn't done anything on the world stage yet. And there's no reason for Erling Haaland to know him before this game where he scored. And yeah, it was great to say like now you're gonna know him, but that's not saying that Pio's better than Erling Haaland. That's not saying Haaland was disrespectful to Pio. Like none of those things were said. So I think that's important. And just friendly banter when you can say, there you go. Pio scored right in front of you. There's your introduction. So
Yeah. I think yeah, I agree. Especially because people love to whenever someone just doesn't know him, but they don't mean it in a rude way. It's Twitter. People are still going to be like going crazy about it, even if it's not meant in a negative way. Like, oh, now kind of thing. But it's really
yeah.
not that serious. Like on both sides, I
Mm-hmm.
think we know that. However, I agree. Like Pio's not a household name outside of Serie A. Like these, we need to remember we are in our Serie A Twitter bubble, and we kind of feel
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes we think that everyone knows him, but this is our league. Like it's not like everyone's gonna. If you ask a Prem fan, if you ask a Bundesliga fan, it's not gonna be like they know him as well as we do by far,
Mm-hmm.
if they even do. So yeah, it's definitely not fair to be like, oh, Haaland doesn't know. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so not the greatest international break for Italy itself because obviously, heavily relying on Inter players, especially in that second game. But yeah, people were saying that because all five Inter players that were called up started, it was kind of like a thing where, can you blame the fact that Inter players can you blame the Inter heavy Italy team for this loss? And I think it's a bit unfair to say because first of all, Norway is Moldova, and second of all, I think the whole of the Italian national team needs a lot of change in a lot of areas, rather than saying, okay, don't play the Inter players because it didn't work against Norway. I think it's just the first thing that especially rival fans love to say. So when I see those kind of tweets
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, like, they're not bright for the national team right now. I don't get it. But yeah, anything you wanna?
Yeah. I'll push back a little bit. Not so much that I disagree with you. I think it's just taking it a different direction. I would blame Inter, just like I would blame all the other clubs, right? If you have one team supplying most of the players for the national team, that's only showing how poor of quality there are Italians of other clubs. Like you shouldn't have just one club supplying all these players. So yeah, when the Inter players are all playing together and they don't play well, and so Italy doesn't play well, then yeah, you can blame Inter. But then you've got to blame all the other clubs for not supplying any players. I mean, where's Milan's player? Juve
Um,
is only supplying Locatelli, right?
yeah,
Roma is supplying their two. They're normal too. But it's it's annoying, the tribalism. It's okay also, us Interisti, to say that they didn't play well. It
Yeah,
just wasn't good. The Italy squad has more problems than just the players that are being called up. There's a fundamental structural issue at the FIGC, and that needs to be addressed.
yeah,
So it's yeah, Inter players did not do well. You can blame Inter because of that, but then you've got to blame the other clubs for not supplying any quality players. You know, you're not developing Italians in your league. That's where the FIGC comes into the issue. So it's a multitude of issues. You just got to take it on the chin. And if you're a fan of the Italian national team, yeah, you got to take that. And now this is Italy. These are Italians. If you look at all the nations that Italy can face against in the playoffs, you've got to take your bets. This is Italy, right? They're the best team in that 16 group of 16 teams for the playoffs.
yeah.
No excuses. So, yes, and the qualification is annoying. Still no excuses. Norway is good,
Yeah,
but you
shout out to
shouldn't be
Norway.
embarrassed.
Shout out to Norway.
Yes, absolutely.
You have to give credit. As bad as Italy was, Norway was also very good. Like people always make this thing where if the one team is bad, that doesn't mean that the other team can be good. No, Norway, regardless, if there was Spain or France or anyone else, I feel like Norway would have still fought for that first spot. Norway have a serious,
Well,
serious team this like the last 1, 2 years. Going from being the team that didn't know how to use Haaland and Solov and Odegaard, I feel like they figured it out now. And I feel like
they tied for the most goals ever in a
yeah,
qualification
yeah.
process. That's incredible. They're gonna be fireworks at the World Cup, and if they get a couple lucky draws and they do well in their group, you could see a quarterfinal or a semifinal run from them.
Yeah, they need to
Bookmark it.
if they fix their defense because with all due
Mhm.
respect, they have Ostergaard who used to play for Napoli, and that's kind of
I
it.
just think I think they just have to outscore everybody. Like, you
I
just
think so
keep feeding
too.
Holland.
If you look at their attack, they have Solov who they sometimes even push out to the left wing, which is crazy because you see his build; he's not made to be a winger. Haaland, they have
Yeah,
Strand Larsen from Wolves, I believe, right?
yeah.
And then behind them they have Odegaard, they have Berg, they have a
Oscar
pool of
Bob,
Oscar
Man
Bob,
City,
Nusa.
Nusa,
Are you
bro.
serious? That is
Mhm.
a 5 man, 6 man attack that almost every country would take straight away.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair play to Norway. Fair play to Norway because they are having a great run right now, a great generation. So
Yeah.
yeah, but again, on Italy, I agree with you. I think Inter being the only Serie A team that can provide a core of Italian players towards the national team is it also comes with that like yes, you have to wonder where is Milan and where's Juventus in this. You know,
Mhm.
you mentioned
Yeah.
Roma, okay, two players, but Milan and Juventus do not have an Italian core like Inter do. And I like the fact
Yep.
that Beppe always puts this in a lot of his quotes because he knows how valuable that is. Not only to because Inter want to be so like one dimensional in terms of their nationalities. No, they genuinely want to also help the Italian national team, and with that, the whole of the FIGC, the whole of Italian football. So yeah, it goes hand in hand, really. But
Yeah.
again,
When the Seven Sisters, whatever type of Seven Sisters, are supplying about equal amount of Italians to the national team, that is when Italy succeeds. That is when they
correct.
have won tournaments. That is when, like, in the 30s, Pro Vercelli supplied players, Juve, Milan, and Inter. They dominated. Those four teams dominated the national team in the 30s, in the 1930s. 84, it was, you had, there was a lot of, I believe it was Parma, you had Roma, Lazio, Napoli, Inter, Milan, Juve. And then 2006, again, Juve, Milan. I mean, there was Materazzi, who's the only Inter player there, but then there was a heavy Roma and Palermo contingency. Like, those two
Yeah,
clubs started supplying players, so when it's spread out like that, and you feel like you're leaving Italians at home, that's when the Italian national team does well. So
Yeah.
I hate the idea that yeah, this is clubs to blame, like the club players. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah. We'll
Anyway,
see.
I think that's enough on them.
We'll see if anything changes into the World Cup, but obviously, it would be nice to see some sort of, improvement over the next eight months. Regardless, guys, some more players that did well. I kind of want to breeze through this now. Hakan Çalhanoğlu played, I believe, only the first game. We'll get onto his injury a bit later. He started, sort of full 90 minutes, and scored from the spot for Turkey as they defeated Bulgaria. Obviously, Turkey already chilling, I think, in that playoff spot behind Spain. And then I believe, hold on. Yeah, Piotr Zielinski scored and assisted. So he scored the third
Yeah,
goal and assisted the first goal in their last match, which was on Monday night against Malta. So that's what solidified their playoff spot, I believe. I'm not too sure if they needed it, but regardless, they finished second behind the Netherlands in their group. So they are also going to be going to the playoffs. And then
they're one of the pot one teams, right? So Italy
correct.
can't face them, and yeah.
Yeah, correct. So the draw, we'll get into the draw as well because a few Inter players are involved in that. I also just want to explain it just to, in case you guys don't understand. And then another, well, actually, Inter under 23 player who scored is Christos Alexiou, who keeps starting 90 minutes, no breaks, both games in every international break for Greece under 21. So he's like a rock in their defense. He scored the opener against Northern Ireland under 21. They won 4-0. Obviously, under 21s are currently playing the qualifiers for, I believe, 2026 or 2027, one of the two, that tournament, which is coming up. And then Manuel Akanji started both games for Switzerland, played 90 minutes, and they have topped their group unbeaten, qualified for the next World Cup. So I believe Kosovo got the second place. I'm not too sure though. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
couldn't
not.
tell you.
I wouldn't know the details of that right now. But anyway,
Yeah, all I
so
know is they qualified. That's all I
yeah,
care about.
basically, as you guys can tell, a few teams that are in the playoff spots and are going to be fighting for qualification. So there's 4 spots left from the UEFA, and then obviously you guys know from the CONCACAF, Asia and Africa, those 3 federations have had teams qualified to the intercontinental playoff. That is being drawn, well, both is being drawn tomorrow, or depending when you're watching this today. Basically, Thursday, 1 p.m. Central European Time, East Coast, 7 a.m. For both the Intercontinental and the UEFA playoff. And the UEFA playoff has 16 teams, and 4 will advance, so it's a semi-final, final kind of thing. But it looks like a round of 16, if you get what I mean. But technically, whoever makes it into the semi-final qualifies because it's 4 teams that qualify. You get the point if it's 16 teams.
Yeah.
And there's 4 pots, Italy and pot 1, obviously. And there's, I think pot 1 faces pot 4, and pot 2 faces pot 3. And that's how it's going to work. So basically, just watch the draw, basically, if you want to know how it works. And then also the Intercontinental one, I don't think there's any Inter players involved, but it's going to be Iraq and Congo as the seeded final teams. And you have Bolivia, New Caledonia, Jamaica, and Suriname in the semi-finals that basically fight out the spot to face DR Congo and Iraq in the final. So that's the last 6 teams that are remaining for the World Cup. And yeah, just to get that out of the way, just to explain that. I did also want to give a shout out to some Inter under 23, Inter Primavera, and Inter Lonis who got called up in numbers to Italy under 20 and Italy under 19. Now, the under 19s did well, the under 20s not so much, but it was only friendly, so it doesn't really matter too much. For the under 20s, it was Thomas Berenbruch, Francesco Stante, Matteo Lavelli, Matteo Spinace, Mike Aidu, Giacomo Stabile, and Giacomo De Pieri. So 3 loanees and 4 guys from the under 23 team. And then for the under 19s, it was Matteo Cocchi, Mattia Mosconi, Filippo Cerpelletti, and Jamal Idrissou. So 4 guys from the Primavera / under 23. They kind of bounced between both teams. And they did well. They played under 19 qualification. And one thing before we get out of the international break, again, if you guys want to see who played what, there's plenty of tweets still on Inter Extra if you guys want to know who played for the respective national teams. But one thing I want to mention is today is Wednesday the 19th. On Friday the 21st, Leonardo Bovio, Inter Primavera defender, he will play in the quarterfinal. Well, I don't think he will play. He'll probably be on the bench because he's not a starter right now. But he will play with Italy's under 17 in the under 17 World Cup in the quarterfinal against. Here goes me not being prepared.
I believe it's
Burkina Faso under 17. There we go.
yes, yeah, I was about to say it was an African nation.
Yeah, they
I couldn't.
beat Uganda under 17 in the round of 16. So now they're into the quarterfinals and face off against Italy. Obviously, it would be nice if Bovio got some minutes, but I think regardless, it's a great experience to get that under 17 World Cup under your belt. And yeah, we'll see how far Italy go. Austria under 17 also in the quarterfinals, which is crazy. So yeah, we'll see how he does. But that's why I said international break's not really over. But yeah. Good to round that off. I don't think I missed anyone that didn't anyone that had like massive impact. Petar Sucic got some good rest. That's something that's important. He didn't play the second game at all, I believe. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. Piotr Zielinski did have a great international break, and that is also what pushes him close to start on the weekend. But we will get into that.
Yeah.
First
Yeah,
of
and
all,
Dumfries didn't play.
oh yeah,
I think that's another.
but
He didn't play.
we'll get into the
We'll
injury
talk about
part
that.
at the end, I would say, if you
Yeah.
don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do just want to also breeze through some of these updates for you guys. So, Jan Sommer's inter-contract expires next year, obviously, and there will be evaluations, basically. And we've talked about this the last few episodes. It's kind of annoying to hear it at this point. I know Matteo Moretto needs to make his news, but we've been talking about how we wonder why the signing of Josep Martinez even happened if these talks are always ongoing. I know they're not 100% sure. Or is it? We know they're not 100% sure if Josep Martinez is going to be the starting goalkeeper / is good enough. But clearly they're keeping all the options open, as in the Inter board are keeping all the options open. Yeah, his future's more than uncertain, but we knew this already. So much on the goalkeeper position. And then there were some reports from Turkey. Again, always take these reports from Turkey with a pinch of salt, that Hakan Çalhanoğlu could leave Inter in January. It's obviously not happening, right? We know this. There's actually talks about potential departure, or in the summer, obviously, or a contract renewal. This is something that, isn't going to be decided now. Like, if you hear anything in November, December, probably even January, it's probably not true. February is always a crucial month. The month after the winter transfer window, that's when, a lot of things about the summer already get pre-decided, because you kind of want to save yourself the hassle during May, June, July. I feel like we'll get clearer indications where he's going from there onwards.
Yeah, and one thing to note about Hakan is his contract expires in 2027.
Correct.
So, like, either Inter is going to want to get rid of him next summer and get something back from him, or for him, or they're going to extend it so that they can either get a bigger fee for him or have the chance to sell him again in 2027. So that's all this is they're trying to protect their business asset. So yeah, like you said, we'll see more really what's going to happen with him February and March of next year.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of Hakan Çalhanoğlu, yeah, Alexander Stankovic is in the pipeline. I think, especially with how Gazzetta worded it here, he could be a vice or even replacement for Hakan Çalhanoğlu, which means, right, I hope and I believe that Beppe Marotta and his team are watching him closely. I know it's only the Belgian league, but a man can dream that he is valued good enough to slot right into the Inter starting 11. I personally...
he has more Champions League experience already at 20 than Barella did at 20, Davide Fratesi did at 20, Adrian Barnabé had at 20, then Hakan Çalhanoğlu had at 20. he has more Champions League experience than most of these players. I'm not saying that he's better. I'm just saying if you're talking about the Belgian league and you guys are saying, "Hey, we don't know what he is," like, yeah, he's doing great in the Belgian league. Go watch his performance against Barcelona. That's not the Belgian league. Just want to point that out.
I think that was the one thing in the summer where I was very, very happy about the fact that he plays Champions League. I remember the first thing when we sold him was me checking, we're going Champions League. Like,
Yeah.
where did they play? I remember talking about it in one of the episodes in July or
Yeah.
August, and I was looking like third qualification round, playoff round, like what are they in? And then they qualified, and I was like, yes, this is
Yeah.
gonna be huge. He has interest from the Premier League, Tottenham and Newcastle. There's with all due respect, like no, just no. So
No.
the interest is there. Obviously, it's there. He's having a great season, but I feel like Inter
Yeah.
won't be that stupid. Hopefully,
Yeah.
he ends up. If Hakan Çalhanoğlu does leave, if he doesn't,
Oh
obviously,
yeah.
then give him another year to learn under Hakan, and then we have a luxury problem because then we have two registers that can play. Like it's basically like you can choose between two Rolls Royces. Like it's gonna be great to have that luxury in midfield. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. In terms of outgoings, or continuing on outgoings, I guess Stankovic was in outgoings because theoretically it's a rumor to leave. But yeah,
Yeah.
I
Well,
wanna.
I think it was like we would get him back to then sell him to these clubs.
Or yeah, but yeah, I see what you meant. Um,
Yeah.
Luis Enrique and Andy Juve are apparently being pushed out. This is how Abdallah Boma worded it. I believe he's a French journalist. So yeah, French journalist for a few outlets. You can see it there. However, um, yeah, that was something that a lot of people were like, you know,
Hoping
like
for.
well, hoping for. But I was gonna say like just pointing out the money wasted kind of thing. And
Yeah.
and I understand the frustration because you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll say it's money wasted if we don't get money back.
Yes.
So remember, these players are still assets. They're young, which is why Oak Tree wants to buy young players, because if they do fail, you can still get something back for them. They're on low wages as well, which means, other clubs can match their wages, or they don't have to take too much of a pay cut to go somewhere else. But yeah, it's kind of embarrassing that they're already being pushed to leave.
The thing is, can you get 50 million from them in the winter/summer? No, you definitely can't. You could probably get 30 combined. However, like that's still a bad loss. However,
Yeah,
if we're being honest, Andy Drew was a panic buy. Looking back at it, I think
yeah,
we can conclude that he was a panic buy. Was he needed? No, I don't think he was needed at all. With the under 23s team in place, we would have been just fine with six midfielders. And then
yeah.
Luis Enrique was the one that wasn't a panic buy and just didn't work out. Like they obviously just saw something in him that he actually doesn't have,
It was
kind of
a
thing.
signing for a different manager as well.
Also for a different manager, yeah. Even though I do believe that he would have flopped just as badly under, I say flop, sorry, that's a strong word, but he would have done the same under Inzaghi, in my
Ah,
personal
who
opinion.
knows if Inzaghi even would have played him?
That's
Like
also a
we couldn't even
valid point.
call him a
Yeah,
flop at this point. If Inzaghi was here, he still would have waited a couple months before playing him for the first time.
yeah.
But
There's
yeah,
a
regardless.
well, we will never know. In terms of a replacement, if Luis Enrique does leave, there has been some rumors on Brooke Norton Coffey, who is obviously Genoa's fullback,
Yeah,
and they
sorry.
have.
Before we move to Norton Cuffy, there are some people that want Andy Doof to leave. If I have the UEFA and
Oh yeah,
FIFA
thank you. Go ahead.
rules correct, Andy Doof cannot leave Inter this winter. It cannot happen because if he's loaned or sold, he cannot play in UEFA competitions. Um, he actually might be able to play only in UEFA competitions. He can't play in a European league because he has already played for two European clubs this season alone. So he played the first game with Lens, and then he came to Inter. He played 1 or 2 games. That's it. He's done for the season. He can't move to another club unless it's outside of Europe, if I have those rules correct. So all of you that think let's push him out, there's more of a likelihood that Barella leaves than Andy Doof leaves in January. I'm sorry, we're going to have to live with him for 6 more months until he can actually move again. So, yeah, I just wanted to address that. If I'm wrong, please, if we have a rules expert listening to us, correct me down in the comments. But yeah, I just wanted to address that. There's rumors there. I don't think it can happen.
Yeah,
So don't listen to them.
I think a lot of these journalists also just like state the obvious. Like, yes, Andy Juve
Yeah.
has played like 10 minutes in total. There's obviously no real chance that he's gonna be a crucial part of the team after January. What I don't think that Inter planned is, I don't think they thought about this, the fact that he played 1 game for Lens, because I don't think they were playing with the thought of we might have to sell him in the winter. Hence why they obviously didn't consider that when
Yeah.
buying Andy Juve. Like that was no in anyone that wasn't in anyone's head, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, like right, because you think that you're buying a good midfielder, you don't have to think about that for the next 2-3 years about selling him. Like yeah, so just a very unfortunate situation. But thanks for explaining that. Yeah, I do think you're right. But if anyone wants to disagree, please put it in the comments. And yeah, so Norton Coffee
No one cut it.
is I guess one of the names as like a Luis Enrique replacement, quote unquote. But yeah, if an adequate offer is made in January, a former leaving the fullback at the club on loan until June could be accepted. Again, I don't know how that would work if Enrique's supposed to leave in January, but yeah, regardless, we know with Genoa, they are not the easiest to deal with. As always, they don't have a need to sell, especially a player like him. So much on
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah,
6 months of Serie A Inter going in for a player that's only been here 6 months has always gone well, right?
yeah, yeah,
Roberto Gagliardini doesn't come to mind at all. So,
yeah. No, as listen, um, I know what you're saying as well.
yeah.
I wanna talk about Karim Adeyemi because Bild, German newspaper, has thrown out, like, again, I don't know where they have this information from, but apparently the club has held direct talks with his agent, Jorge Mendes. This is a completely normal thing. Again, Thomas, I don't know why you put break in here, respectfully. There's a thing where like these talks happen all the time. Like talks, like club representatives talking with agents just to explore like even the slightest possibilities. That happens with like dozens of players for every transfer window. And
Mhm.
I also don't see where Ademi would fit because I don't see him as an out and out striker. He did play that at Salzburg, but I don't really see the same system.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. It's a
like,
formation change thing, I think.
yeah,
Like,
it
that's the only
he
thing I could
would be
see.
able to play that 3-4-2-1 if Kivo still does want to can't like push through with that formation. But yeah, I don't see much in it personally. That's just my opinion. I don't know if you have anything to say around Ademi.
No, I mean, he has pace and he is a young, kind of still a little bit raw talent. So, um, yeah, he has quality, but yeah, I think it's just another name. So I'm not going to worry about it too much until something more concrete happens.
Yeah. So much on transfer rumors, guys. I do want to give a quick injury update. So, like I mentioned with Hakan Çalhanoğlu, he left the national team's camp due to a wrist injury. So nothing like in terms of like the lower part of his body. After the first match, after Turkey's first match against Bulgaria, so he didn't play the second game, but it should be fine. From what I've heard, this was the official communication from the Turkish national team. So that he has a wrist injury, and then the same or similar for Piotr Zielinski, who, like I said, would be on the pole for a starting spot alongside Nicolo Barella and Hakan Çalhanoğlu in the derby. However, he finished the match against Malta with severe pain in his calf and back. Obviously, did play 90 minutes twice, I believe. I think he might have been substituted off in the first game, but he played basically 90 minutes twice. and Inter are not very concerned, so he should be fine. So much on the midfielders. If he's going to start, he might only play like 60 minutes, but I do see why he's favored over Sucic, especially after such a good international break. And, you know, the 1-2 games before the international break with Inter also. So much on those updates. Also, like I mentioned, Denzel Dumfries left, or like you mentioned, Denzel Dumfries left the Dutch national team camp. And his injury looks to be a bit more serious. So he's going to be out for the next 2 games against Milan and against Atletico Madrid. Yeah, I don't actually know what happened. Someone, I think Thomas tweeted it, but I forgot. Which, yeah, could be a bit of an issue, because then, you know, you're going to have to rely on Luis Enrique in 2 of the biggest games of the season, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, there's going to be I think we're going to see Carlos Augusto.
A right wing back, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe you get a call up. I know Cinque Grano from the U23 team has trained with the senior team over the international break. I think they were taking a look at him. And then of course there's Koki and Antonio David on the left side, that if Carlos Augusto is on the right side, then they will be able to they'll be able to fill in as the vice Di Marco on the left side. So
Correct.
there's options there. And it looks like that might be the way that they're going to go. And maybe Luis Enrique plays vice Di Marco and it feels better on the left, like Inzaghi did with Tejan Buchanan. Don't know. Who knows?
I mean, we haven't seen Luis Enrique on the left at all, really, unless you're talking
Mm-mm.
about the friendly against Atletico Madrid. But I don't really think that's sufficient in terms of like being able to say what side he's
No.
better on, if he's even
Yeah.
good on any side. Sorry, like with all due respect,
Yeah.
obviously, like you know, I'm not trying to.
He hasn't shown anything.
No,
He
like
hasn't,
yeah,
like,
I'm
he hasn't
trying to
done
be nice
anything
about it.
that's atrocious, but yeah, like it's objective that he hasn't done anything, you know.
I don't mean this in a rude way. I genuinely just feel like whatever side he plays on, he doesn't bring much. Like it's really that. But obviously, next thing I'm going to mention is literally connected with that. He's the only choice right now, because Matteo Darmian has also not returned to group training. He injured himself a few weeks ago, and same thing with Henrik Mkhitaryan, who I said last week or 2 weeks ago, I don't think we're going to see him until the Supercopa. He could return to group training next week, which to me tells me he's either got a great body or they're rushing him back, which I hope is the first thing. So much on Mkhitaryan, and then also Thomas Palacios is back in training. Doesn't really matter much, but he's back. I know you're ecstatic about those news.
Yeah, I'm just so ecstatic.
Yeah, and then yeah, I don't really know. I don't think I missed any injuries apart from that.
No,
That was the
that's everything for us.
okay. I do have some, or we do have some quotes from Ange-Yoan Bonny from Gazzetta, who talked about playing against Inter last season with Parma. Bastoni fouled him and said, "Next year, come join us." You know, we hear these quotes a lot from players that transfer and then, you know, it actually ends up happening. He said, "I was happy even though it seemed like a bit of a threat."
Yeah,
That's
this is funny.
yeah, like I wonder if that's just mistranslated or if Bastoni's actually that scary. But yeah, good to see still.
Yeah, well, you know, right after a tackle, like
Oh
I'm
yeah, yeah,
sure
of course,
Bastoni
yeah, of course.
left a little bit in there, and then he was like getting up. It's like, all right, come join us next season.
Yeah, like a
No, it's
good
funny. I
duel, you
like,
know, like yeah,
yeah, yeah, I like seeing those bits of personality. That's kind of why I threw this in here, and we have for you guys to hear the whole interview. There's a lot more quotes on Inter Extra. Go search Bonny in the Inter Extra tweets,
yeah,
pull up the latest ones, and you'll see all 4 or 5 posts of it. So you can see more, you know, what he said about Kivu and what he said about playing in San Siro
yeah.
compared to playing against Inter and then playing for Inter in the San Siro. So yeah, go check those out. I love, you know, that little bit of personality there. It's like, it kind of felt like a threat, but you know.
Yeah, we also
It's
have
good.
this very nice quote about him. The picture of him in the Inter shirt, you know, with the Samuel Eto'o on the back, I think. So it was the first shirt his mom bought him when he started football school. I think it's gonna be one of those pictures that's just gonna be that we're gonna see like every other day because it's so iconic.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is
It's great.
beautiful. It's
Yeah, it's just
wonderful.
made
Hmm.
a great match. And
Hmm.
then we have some quotes on Jan Bissek, who explained why he hasn't been called up to Germany. Explained it himself, basically, how Julian Nagelsmann, obviously German national team manager, emphasized how important it is to him that we are playing, or that, in this case, he's playing regularly uh, at the club. Obviously, I'm aware that I've only been playing regularly again since the fall. I'm going to continue to do everything in my power and be patient to be available for the international matches in March. I think we said this last time. We can conclude that he's not going to be a starter simply because there's too much competition. And unless he has like a banger season, I don't think anything's going to change. Is he going to be a squad player? Yes. Do I feel like he deserves to go to the World Cup? Yes. But I don't think he's going to be a starter for the Germany team
Yeah,
unless like major injuries happen, which obviously I don't wish injuries on anyone. He has to be ready. But yeah, I do feel
yeah.
like it won't be the
That's
case.
good. I think it's motivating him to do well at that center back role. So hopefully
Of
that
course.
motivation benefits us.
Of
So
course, I think it all plays a part in, him also, not just wanting to play for the German national team, but also wanting to prove himself in different positions in that three-man defense. I think it's good. I think it's healthy, motivation, and then hopefully, you never know. Maybe he does become a starter for Germany. It would be great for him. It would be great to see.
yeah, yeah.
And also on his transfer rumors, which obviously he knows about, he reads about. We know he's chronically online, so he's definitely seeing these things,
The
and he's
best.
definitely aware
He is
that
the best Instagram story shit
he
poster I've
posts
ever
like me
seen.
on Instagram, guys. It's incredible. Yeah, he's focused on Inter. I think the fact that he's downplaying it is a great sign. I think he knows his worth here. He knows how much he's appreciated by the fans. He wanted this move as well when he joined in 2023. I do feel like he's not going anywhere. So
Yep,
I think you can agree with me because there's there's
absolutely.
there's only so many teams that I feel like he would join, and Crystal Palace is, with all due respect to Crystal Palace, is definitely not one of them and would be a step down. And I think he's smart enough to not do that. So yeah, even if he has to fight for his spot, depending on where he plays, but I think he knows his worth. And then finally, Inter's assistant sporting director and squad manager of Inter Under 23, Dario Bacin, you guys know him, said one interesting thing, which Thomas put in a bold font here. Rightly so. The goal is to consolidate this team, but above all, to bring one player each year from the Under 23 side to the first team as quickly as possible. This is stuff we've never seen before, guys. This is stuff that is so new, and I like the fact that there's a picture of Thomas. Of Thomas. There's no picture of Thomas. There's a picture of Luka Topalovic. I'll be surprised if Thomas played for the Inter 23s, but no, there's a picture of Luka Topalovic there, who I feel like is one of the main candidates. If not
Hmm.
him, then maybe Koki, maybe Berenbruch, maybe Spinache. There's a couple of guys I can think of, but I think we all know that Luka Topalovic is one of the most talented players in that team, and he's shown it recently too. And this is great to see. I like this quote a lot. I don't know if you want to add anything here.
No, that's. I've had a couple of discussions about the idea of the U23 teams together as a whole, with Joe, and if he's listening, he'll know this conversation. But yeah, it would be great for us to bring one player up every year. That's like the max that I think could happen. You can't. It would be great to have more, but clubs don't really do that. It's difficult to keep your players, never send them away, keep them at your club and promote one every year, because after 10 years, between the ages of 20 to 30, you're going to have 10 players from this team in addition to all the players that you bring in, which would be great. That's awesome. um, but if you start doing more than one every year, and what, you're just going to fill a 20 team, your 25 man squad with 20 from the.
Unless you're Barca.
You know, yeah. Well, I mean, not even Barcelona does that. Just look
Yeah,
at their squad. You've got Yamal, Kubarsi, Balde, Pedri.
Fermin
Is that
Lopez.
it?
There's a few players I could think of.
They got yeah, that's true. They do have some bench players, but
They have
still, like you,
Casado, like all of these guys that they spawn out of nowhere and they have like the craziest numbers on the back, and then you're like, where did they spawn them from? I do hear what you're saying though. Like
but they have a
realistically,
U23 team,
yeah.
so it's yeah.
Realistically, there's only so many players you can promote within a
Mhm,
season. And yes, the goal is obviously to get the under 23 team as strong as possible, so you don't have to buy as much.
mhm.
But that's still only going to be possible to a certain extent because you need to remain competitive. Like you're Inter, so unless there's a super talent coming through every year, or more than one super talent coming through the under 23 side every year, I feel like it's not going to be more than one.
Yeah,
Obviously, a man can dream, but listen,
and
we need to be realistic here. So
yeah, this team is also not just for Inter. The
yeah,
U23 squads is these clubs making a push to help Italian football develop. This is their way of bridging the youth football to senior football. That's why there's a bunch of 19, 18, and 19-year-olds playing Serie C right now. That's more than what they used to do. Of
hmm
course, it would be better if they were being pushed at Serie A level, but at least they're getting senior football. So it's not just for us. This 25-man squad, U23 Inter's U23 team, not all of them are going to be playing for Inter,
yeah,
but they're going to go play somewhere else, which is good.
and it's good. Yeah. To end off, guys, I have a quote from Marcos Llorente, who obviously plays for our next Champions League opponents. He says, Inter is a great team full of top-notch individuals. They have a solid group and a recognizable style of play that hasn't changed under the new coach. They've won 4 out of 4 games in Champions League. It will be a great match against them. Now, he's won. What was I going to say? Basically, the second match after the Milan game is against Atletico Madrid. That's what I was going to say. So, yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
great. Do you want to mention anything about the upcoming games already, unless you have something else to add?
Yeah, so I'll do that. I'll just jump right into that. So, of course, if we just mentioned the Champions League game, so I'll start with the senior squad. Um, we have the Derby della Madonnina coming up this weekend. It looks like it's the PM, it's the night game on Sunday. So,
So the Champions League match is on Wednesday.
so the Champions League match will be on Wednesday, um, 2 p.m. So they're not doing the early match. Yeah. So and Marcus Llorente, it was a part of the team that knocked us out 2 years ago. So I'm just hoping to get some revenge. I just bring that up. See that they were already talking about that this past week. So these players are being asked about it. These teams are thinking about it. So yeah, 2 big games coming up for us in this next week for the senior squad, and I'll work backwards now from there. The U23 team had their last weekend game postponed because of the
International break.
international break. Yes, thank you. Where the Inter U23 team had a bunch of their players go. So Serie C is working with them. It looks like that game has been moved to about 2 or 3 weeks later, 2 weeks from now. But this weekend, Sunday morning, early morning for me, but around noon in Central European time. They'll be playing Trento, and then midweek is the next Serie C Coppa Italia game against Renate. So that's also Wednesday morning. It'll be around probably the same time that the youth league is going on for Inter's Primavera squad. Perfect. Just
I'm lucky
beautiful
that I'm
work
not
by me.
jobless, because otherwise I
Yeah.
would cover all of those games and watch all of those games. Yeah,
The Primavera squad plays Torino this weekend first. It does look like that is also on Sunday. That's going to be before the U23 team. So that's going to be 11. And then the youth league match against Atletico Madrid. Yeah, so they're going to be the U23 team on Wednesday in the Coppa Italia game is going to be offset an hour earlier than our Primavera squad playing in the UEFA Youth League against Atletico Madrid. So we're going to have a ton of games going on Sunday and Wednesday. So 3 teams on both of those days.
yeah.
And then Once again on Sunday, the 23rd. I just need to make sure that I've got that right. Yeah. All of these games on the 23rd. The Inter women's team, just to wrap up, plays Lazio in the morning. So, um, yeah, a ton of Inter football on both Sunday and Wednesday. Um,
Lovely.
so yeah,
Yeah.
that's that roundup.
I appreciate the updates, guys. Make sure you look into all of the games. If you don't, then you're not a real fan. But no, in all seriousness, there's a lot coming up, and it's gonna be great. Um, yeah, excited to have Inter back. You know, with all this drama from the international break, but it's time to get back into club football. Um, yeah,
Time to pull out that Milan hatred, everybody.
yes, yes, yes. I need to make sure I go watch the game somewhere nice. With some fellow Interisti. Hopefully, gonna be a good time. Yeah. Um, that's everything. Once again, guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in as per usual. And as I said at the start, if you guys want to see anyone specific on the podcast, let us know, please. We'll try and sort it out. Otherwise, yeah. Like I said, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, give us a good rating. And aside from that, we'll see you guys next week. Hoping for 2 wins for the senior squad and more wins from the other teams. But yeah, for now, guys,
Yeah,
we're
like
out.
7 wins total or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Forza Inter.